Adam McIntyre has just destroyed his career. He just uploaded a video a few minutes ago responding to my recent video, responding to his dozens of videos spearing me. And to be clear, Adam's video is not a rebuttal. It's a reaction stream turned to upload, built almost entirely on mockery and performative disbelief, reframing my argument into something easier to attack, repeatedly dragging the discussion back to "you're a flop" instead of actually addressing the very serious issues I brought up, relying on personal anecdotes and character attacks, and completely avoiding the actual thesis of my video. And as everyone knows, when someone does that in a debate, folks, that means they've lost. Adam never presents a counter-argument to my core claim. He never disputes the data with competing data. He never engages with the per capita logic I present. Instead, he spends most of the runtime of his video asking variations of, what does this have to do with me calling you a flop? And that question, folks, is the tell. And it's exactly why I made both of the response videos I made so far. The reality is Adam doesn't want to engage in this conversation because it's uncomfortable for people like Adam who inhabit the gay community and know exactly how much abuse happens in that community. This is a conversation Adam will avoid because it ultimately holds him and his community accountable, holds them at odds. And Adam knows that if he brings this conversation to light, it will ultimately damage his reputation within his own community because they have a culture of protecting predators. And obviously, Adam doesn't want that. Instead, he wants to pretend this was only about him calling me a flop. Adam insists over and over that the only legitimate topic is whether my channel is successful or not. But I explicitly reframed the video as a response to smear commentary and a challenge to engage in a larger conversation he previously ignored. And I said that transparently and directly to the camera. I wasn't trying to hide any of this. It was right there for everybody to see. So this isn't a bait and switch. My interest is not in petty drama the way Adam enjoys. My interest is in larger conversations that can actually have societal good, conversations that are difficult, uncomfortable, and that lead to positive results and ultimately reduce harm to victims. But Adam, despite presenting himself as someone who occupies the moral high ground, clearly holds a double standard when it comes to people he closely associates with. And that's why he can't engage. That said, Adam cannot force me to litigate only the insult he chose to repeat through dozens of videos. I'm allowed to elevate the conversation, and that's what adults do instead of wallowing in drama. Adam's refusal to acknowledge that isn't a rebuttal. It's just pure evasion. It's deflection. It's actually childlike deflection. He repeatedly asks, what does this have to do with me, while refusing to respond to what I clearly stated multiple times, that he ignored the issue 7 months ago, that he has refused to engage the data in both videos, and that the deflection and silence themselves are the point because they expose how people like Adam avoid these sorts of conversations. Further, Adam claims he didn't know the original video existed. He mocks the view count and insists the topic is irrelevant to him, which is extremely telling because if he truly had nothing to do with the topic, the correct response would be to debate it and dismiss it substantively, not to spend over 20 minutes reacting to it while refusing to engage and hiding behind this sort of performative disbelief. In the end, his behavior contradicts his own claims. He never refutes the data. He never says the numbers are wrong, the sources are fraudulent, the studies non-existent, or the per capita comparison invalid. Instead, he says, why are you talking about this? This is rage bait. This feels irrelevant, and this is right-wing grifting. You know, that talking point that people who have nothing to say just love to throw at the wall like spaghetti and hope it sticks. This isn't an argument, folks. This is bad faith motive guessing, a classic genetic fallacy, attacking why data is raised instead of whether it's correct. When people are having honest conversations, they counter data with data. Adam refused to do that, which is why he attacks motive instead of substance. He then repeatedly strawmans my argument by claiming I said gay men are predators, that I lumped him in with criminals, or that I painted an entire group as dangerous, even though I explicitly said adult orientation does not equal offender behavior, victimization does not equal perpetration, and the issue is community refusal to confront these patterns of abuse. Because he can't quote me making the claim he accuses me of, he has to assert it emotionally instead of evidentially. That's textbook straw manning, folks. He then uses laughter, speed ups, interruptions, and declares boredom during a data section where I'm literally discussing child sexual abuse. Imagine saying you're bored when someone is discussing the severity of abuse in your community, when you have the chance to actually speak against it. Adam is ultimately signaling discomfort when he does this, not confidence, folks. If the data were flawed, the strongest move would be to slow it down, dismantle it bit by bit, but Adam does the opposite because he doesn't want to confront it. He substitutes personal attacks for substantive counter-arguments, spending large portions of the video talking about my age, my past content, my demeanor, unverified gossip, speculation, and just pure hypotheticals, none of which address the numbers, the studies, the per capita comparison, or the central claim about how silence allows child sexual abuse in the gay community to go unpunished. That's just pure ad hominem as a substitute for an actual rebuttal. Adam even says he won't debate me at one point, only to unironically proceed to argue for over 20 minutes without rules, structure, or any sort of accountability. Refusing a formal debate while informally arguing every point is not strength. It's clear avoidance. And whenever the conversation becomes uncomfortable, Adam predictably collapses back into the same tired reset button. He says, "You're a flop." If that were sufficient, the rest of the video wouldn't need to exist. Let's be honest. He could have just made a 2-second response saying that I'm a flop, and that would have had a much greater impact than 20 minutes repeating the same thing over and over and over again. The repetition itself proves he has no response to the substance I presented. So he instead retreats to the insult that started the exchange. All that said, Adam's response fails on 3 fundamental levels, folks. He never engages the claim. He never disputes the data. He never explains why the topic is illegitimate, only that it makes him uncomfortable. Analytically, his video functions as character assassination, motive speculation, tone policing, deflection, and just a lazy smear. This is not a rebuttal, folks. It's actually something that any creator who values their worth would be embarrassed to upload. He has effectively destroyed his career and signed his name as a supporter of pedophiles. That's it, folks. Adam McIntyre has decisively said that he supports pedophiles with his laughter and the way that he has treated this entire topic of child sexual abuse in the gay community with mockery. You, Adam, support pedophiles. And again, the challenge stands. I challenge you to debate me on this. Let's talk man to man. Hope you have a terrific day. Take care. Peace.